Good evening. This is the English news from TVRI with the latest report from around the globe. In the headlines tonight, 2 bombs explode in the Gaza Strip close to a Jewish settlement. In northern Spain, a train packed with holidaymakers derails, 26 people killed.
United States Secretary of State Madeleine Albright voices her support in opposition to Chinese military action against Taiwan. And PT Mustika Ratu dedicates a new building in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Now the news in detail.
2 bombs exploded in the Gaza Strip on Tuesday, according to the Israeli security sources. The area has been especially tense in recent weeks as the Israeli-Palestinian peace process plunged into a crisis over work on a Jewish settlement in Arab Jerusalem.
Israeli army demolition machinery destroyed the West Bank home of the suicide bomber whose March 21st attack on a crowded outdoor cafe in Tel Aviv killed 3 Israeli women and himself.
His family had petitioned Israel's Supreme Court without success to prevent the army from demolishing the suicide bomber's house in a West Bank village. Reviewed the latest assault on the government's hardline policies. The Arab League is recommending its 22 members should freeze their relations with Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu called it a step backward and justified his position.
I think a nation has to take a stand, and we cannot accept the concept of peace in which we are coerced by political warfare or by the threats of terror, by the threats of violence. We're not going to divide Jerusalem on that basis or on any basis, and we're certainly not going to accept a concept of peace that is based on continual threat and blackmail. This is not the peace we have in mind. We want to achieve here a real peace, a secure peace, a peace for us and our neighbors, and that means the ends of threats and violence.
The first Protestant March of Northern Ireland's parade season passed peacefully yesterday in a sharp turnaround from previous years when violence dodged every step. Some 50 apprentice boys celebrated a 17th century Protestant battle in traditional fashion by playing music and walking along Ormo Road, the dividing line separating the hostile Catholic and Protestant communities in Belfast.
Up to 26 people were killed and more than 80 others were injured yesterday when a train packed with Easter holidaymakers left the rails in the Huarte Arquel district of northern Spain, Spanish radio said, citing the rescue services.
United States Secretary of State Madeleine Albright on Monday appeared to support some fiery statements made by America's leading opposition spokesman concerning a U.S. response to any Chinese military action against Taiwan. Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich, currently on a tour of Asia, stated in no uncertain terms, reminding the media that the United States has a one-China policy. But she went on to affirm that the security of Taiwan is of great importance to the United States, and if there were any force used by the Chinese, that is a matter of grave concern to the United States. The speaker, who has always been fiercely critical of China's policies towards its island arch-rival Taiwan, made some sharp comments about Chinese policies during his visit.
If there were any force is a matter of force used by the Chinese, that is a matter of grave concern to the United States.
President Suharto has asked the National Committee of Indonesian Youth, KNPI, to deal with the recent destructive activities of a group of youths.
The president today in Jakarta received a visit from the chairman of the KNPI Central Committee, Maulana Isman, who asked that the organization has Pancasila and the 1945 Constitution in their life. The National Youth Committee fully supports President Suharto and hopes for his re-election. But the head of state remains neutral on the possibility, saying the presidential nomination is based on an existing mechanism that must be followed. Chairman Maulana Isman also reported on an incident where a group of youth destroyed an illegal gambling den. Although the purpose of the shutdown was laudable, the methods used were shameful. The KNPI chairman said that such action will not be tolerated and must be investigated further.
Continuing our news this evening, we take a look at the latest reports from the local scene. The National Election Committee released the list of candidates for the permanent legislative seats, while Armed Forces Commander General Faisal Tanjung spoke further about the security preparation towards the forthcoming election.
330 billboards were torn down by government authorities earlier today. And from Albania, we have news on the 83 dead and missing refugees. First over to Fifi for the latest home news.
The National Election Committee today released the list of candidates from the 3 official parties for the permanent legislative seats in the government.
Armed Forces General Faisal Tanjung today conducted an inspection of troops to be posted in strategic locations during the election.
330 billboards in 5 of Jakarta's areas were taken down by government authorities due to their lack of validity.
The order to rearrange the city of Jakarta by tearing down the illegal billboards was conducted since yesterday. According to the head of the Jakarta Bureau, Wahab Rahmatsyah, his authorities have also supported the program by controlling the validity of each billboard set up on every street corner. He added that the 2 types of permits are optimum of 5 years display period and a yearly display period. If one violates the rules and regulations set by the government stipulated in the regional government's decree number 10-1989 concerning the tax collection of advertisements, one may be forced to tear it down. Getting rid of the billboards followed a letter of warning issued by the regional government.
Albania was in official mourning yesterday for 83 refugees listed as dead or missing after their boat collided with an Italian warship in the Adriatic Sea last week and sank. Here's more in the story.
Coming up next in our feature segment, we highlight the vast development in Indonesia's youngest province, East Timor.
Stay with us for more global news right after our following national report.
Education.
Still to come on TVRI News, the latest business and financial report from Asia's stock markets.
And also sports update follows our economic news in our closing items. And a report from Malaysia will conclude our program this evening. But first, our business and financial news.
South Africa is one of the strongest nations for ultra-distance running, and Situlele Zinge proved he was still among the best with victory in Saturday's 2 Ocean Marathon in Cape Town.
Almost halfway, 28 Ks and halfway, Trongo still leading. Ahead of them, the big chap, Situlele Zinge, biding his time, 2nd place. The ladies' race, East London.
Women's leader was
hangs on to win the 21-year-old, a new star in the firmament of marathon running in this country. Big paid 2nd place at Maria Bock. She couldn't get 1st place as she did last year.
In an effort to promote Indonesian traditional herbal medicine worldwide, one of Indonesia's leading health and beauty companies, PT Mustika Ratu, recently inaugurates its new premises in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
4-story building officially inaugurated by the Till today, both parties are committed to strengthening the bond in the business. Meanwhile, Minister Rafida Aziz remarked that the Malaysian government warmly welcomes the inauguration. It is hoped to trigger more foreign investors to invest in the country.
And that's the news for tonight. Tune in again tomorrow night for more news and information.
We are Pryo Sutioko and Fifi Aleda Yahya. Thank you very much for joining us and
Good night.
Good night.